Hello everyone. In this video, what we're going to do is look at how we solve compound fractions. The first one that we're going to look at is question number 1. We have 8 and 1/3 subtract 2 and 1/2 all over 2 minus 5 over 6. The first thing that we're going to do is to rewrite this question. So we're going to write 8 and 1/3 subtract 2 and 1/2. I'm going to put this in a bracket because it's the numerator. Put this division sign at the side here. Open a bracket and put 2 minus 5 over 6. Now what we're going to do is to convert all mixed numbers to improper fraction. And how we do that is to take the denominator to multiply the whole number, and the result we add the numerator to it. So 3 times 8, that's going to be 24, plus 1, that's going to be 25. So that's going to be 25 over 3 minus 2 times 2, that's 4, plus 1, that's 5 over 2. Remember your bracket. Put back your division sign. Now, remember that 2 is the same thing as 2 over 1. So this is going to be 2 over 1 minus 5 over 6. Now, what we're going to do is to solve both what's inside of both brackets at the same time. Now, how do you subtract fractions? You subtract fractions if the fractions are from the same family or they have the same denominator, right? So one approach is to find the LCM. But what I'm going to do here, instead of finding the LCM, I am going to multiply the first fraction here by the second fraction denominator. But I'm going to multiply both numerator and denominator by 2. So I'm going to multiply the numerator by 2, and I'm going to multiply the denominator by 2. And I'm going to do the same thing to this fraction. I'm going to multiply this fraction, both numerator and denominator, by 3. So I'm going to multiply this by 3 and multiply this by 3. Alright? Now, 2 times 25, that's going to be 50, over 3 times 2, that's going to be 6, minus 3 times 5, that's going to be 15, over 3 times 2, that's going to be 6. Note here that both my denominators are the same. I'm going to keep my division sign. And I'm going to do the same thing to this fraction. So I'm going to multiply this fraction, both numerator and denominator, by this denominator here, which is 6. So I'm going to multiply the numerator by 6 and also the denominator by 6. And I'm also going to multiply this fraction here by this denominator of 1. So multiply the numerator by 1 and then the denominator by 1. So 2 times 6, that's going to give you 12 over 6 minus 5 times 1, that's was 5. 6 times 1, that's was 6. Now both fractions inside of a bracket have the same denominator. So the rule is you're going to keep the denominator. So I'm going to keep the 6. And I'm just simply going to subtract the numerator. So 50 minus 15, that's going to leave me with 35, divided by, keep my denominator of 6 over here, 12 minus 5, that's going to leave me with 7. Now how do you divide two fractions? The rule is you keep the first fraction, so I'm going to keep the first one, and that's going to be 35 over 6. Then change the division sign to multiplication sign. So I'm going to change the division sign to multiplication and reciprocate or invert the last fraction or the second fraction. So if I reciprocate, it's going to become 6 over 7. So this is going to be 6 over 7. Now, you can reduce the fraction if they can be reduced. So note here, 6 into 6 goes 1 time, and 6 into this 6 goes 1. 7 into 7 goes 1 time, and 7 into 35 goes 5 times. So what we are left back with is 5 over 1 and 1 over 1. So all we are going to do is to multiply the numerator by the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. So we are left back with 5 times 1 over 1 times 1, which gives us a final answer of 5. Alright? So number 2, we're given 3 1/2 times 4/5 in bracket minus 4/5. Now what this means, it means that we must solve what's inside of the bracket first. So we're going to change the mixed number to improper fraction. So 2 times 3, that's 6, plus 1 more, that's going to be 7 over 2 times 4 over 5, subtract 4 over 5. Now what you're going to do here is to see if anything can be reduced. So we have 2 here, we have 4. Both 4 and 2 can be divided by 2. So 2 into 2 goes 1 time, and 2 into 4 goes 2 times. Can anything else be reduced? No. So what we're going to do is to multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. So what we have here, we are going to have 7 times 2, all divided by 1 times 5. All of that, subtract 4 over 5. So 7 times 2, that's going to give us 14. Over 1 times 5, that's going to be 5. Minus 4 over 5. So note here, both the denominator are the same. So what you're going to do is to keep your denominator of 5. And you're just going to simply subtract your numerator. So 14 minus 4, that leaves you with 10. And 10 over 5 is just the same thing as 2. And you're finished. So number 3, we're given 1 2/3 plus bracket 2 1/8 divided by 3 over 4. Now again, we must solve what's inside of the bracket first, but we're going to go ahead and to convert all the mixed numbers to improper fraction. So 3 times 1, that's 3, plus 2, that's 5, so we have 5 over 3 plus, open bracket, 8 times 2, that's going to give us 16, plus 1, that's going to give us 17 over 8, divided by 3 over 4. Now, we're going to keep the first fraction, which is 5 over 3 plus, and we're going to reduce what's inside of the bracket. So, we have, how do you divide two fractions? You're going to keep the first one, which is 17 over 8. Change the division sign to multiplication and invert the second fraction. So this becomes 4 over 3. Right? Now, from here, you're just going to follow the procedure for multiplying a fraction. So, note here I have 8 and I have 4. Can 4 and 8 be divided by any number? Yes. 4 can go into itself, and 4 can also go into 8. So 4 into 4, that's 1. 4 into 8, that's 2. Can anything else be reduced? No. So what we're going to do is to multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. So on this side, I'm going to have 5 over 3 plus 17 times 1, that's going to give me 17 over 2 times 3, that's going to give me 6. So now I am working with the fraction 5 over 3 plus 17 over 6. Now here, how do you add two fractions? You can only add fractions or combine fractions only if they have the same denominator. Now here, this fraction, the first fraction have a denominator of 3 and the second fraction have a denominator of 6. So it means that we need to find a common denominator. One way of doing it is to find the LCM. But I'm not going to use the LCM, I'm going to use up equivalent fractions here. So what I'm going to do is to ask myself, which number can I multiply this denominator by, which is 3, to give me 6? That number is going to be 2. So I'm going to multiply the denominator by 2 here, and I'm going to also multiply the numerator by 2. Once you multiply both numerator and denominator by the same number, you are not changing the fraction, but only creating an equivalent fraction. So 5 times 2, that's going to give me 10 over 3 times 2, that's going to be 6 plus 17 over 6. Note here, both my denominators are 6. So what that means, I can just simplify now. So I'm going to keep my denominator of 6. I'm just simply going to add the numerator. So 10 plus 17, that's going to be 27. Now, at this stage, you're going to ask yourself, can this fraction be reduced? I have 27 and I have 6. Yes, this fraction can be reduced. Both 27 and 6 can be divided by 3, right? So what I'm going to do is to divide the numerator by 3 and to divide the denominator by 3 to reduce a fraction in its lowest term. So my final answer is going to be 27 divided by 3, that's going to be 9, over 6 divided by 3, that's going to be 2. So now the fraction is in its lowest term, which is just 9 over 2. Sometimes you are asked to write your answer as a mixed number. So if you are asked to write your answer as a mixed number, you ask yourself, how many groups of 2 can you get out of 9? And that's going to be 4. How many is left? That's going to be 1 over 2. Alright? Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.